Let's face facts. Coronavirus is a major problem, and the world needs an answer. 1.3 million people have died from the virus, so a vaccine will be a big step forward in stopping the virus permanently. However, untested vaccines can be dangerous, and their distribution should be prevented. We can stop this with the scientific method, a guide on setting up an experiment and making sure experimental results are valid. This method is used to test the vaccine, and so knowing how accurate the method is can help you be sure that the vaccine is safe.
The first step of the scientific method is finding a problem or making an observation, like the fact that the coronavirus is causing a global pandemic. The next step is asking a question, like, what are the effects of the vaccine on the coronavirus? The following step is the hypothesis, and an example would be, if we give the vaccine to test subjects, then they will be able to fight off the virus. Now we design an experiment, and in order to do this, scientists must outline an independent variable, which would be whether or not the subjects get the vaccine in this experiment. There must also be a dependent variable, and in this case, it would be the subject's reaction to the virus after receiving the vaccine. Also, the experiment must have controlled variables. There would be no positive controls, as there is no functioning vaccine that has already been made. The experiment would have negative controls. This would be a group that gets a placebo vaccine, as well as a group that doesn't receive anything. The control groups would be compared to the experimental group, which would be the group where the subjects actually get the vaccine. There are constants too, which include how healthy the subjects are and making sure that no subject is under any medications. Lastly, once the experiment is properly designed, you may begin trials, which in this case would be testing the vaccine on volunteers.
During testing, scientists gather data, like how quickly specimens could fight off the virus, by performing tests on many different specimens in order to obtain information. By testing a variety of specimens, our scientists can ensure that the backgrounds of the specimens aren't affecting the results of the experiment. Other important aspects of an experiment like this are the repeated trials that are undergone for the same reason that the variation is prevalent in an experiment. All of these features are parts of the experiment that make sure it will be as safe as possible and make sure that the data can be properly recorded and then graphed, such as in a graph like this. These graphs help you to draw a conclusion and then to share and distribute your results with others so they can know that the vaccine is safe and usable.
In conclusion, the vaccines are being tested using the scientific method to show that the one we choose will be both safe and effective. If people are willing to trust the scientific method enough to get vaccinated for the flu and other diseases, then they should know that the coronavirus vaccine will be just as safe. Hopefully, the majority of people have learned today why the COVID-19 vaccine is ensured to be extremely helpful and will be willing to get vaccinated so that the virus will no longer plague our society.